Emily had never liked moving. The boxes, the dust, the unfamiliar smell of paint and time, it all made her uneasy. Yet, when she stepped into her new apartment, a strange warmth flickered inside her. This was supposed to be a fresh start, a quiet chapter in a life that had been too loud and too chaotic. The apartment was old, yes, but it had character. Faint cracks lined the walls, and the floorboards groaned softly under her weight. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting golden light across the dusty wooden floor. Emily set down her keys and breathed in, letting the newness sink in. This place, however imperfect, was hers. Boxes were stacked in corners. Clothes, books, a chipped mug, a record player that might still work if she was gentle enough with it. She walked through the rooms slowly, running her fingers along the walls as if she could imprint her own presence on them. Every little detail mattered. Every corner whispered stories of the people who had lived here before her. She wondered about them, but quickly shook the thought away. Now this was her space.
Evening came faster than she expected. Emily poured herself a cup of tea and approached the largest window in the living room. From here, she could see the street below, faint outlines of cars, distant neon lights, and the occasional passerby hurrying along the sidewalk. The world outside felt calm, almost too calm. She shivered slightly and took a sip of her tea. That's when she noticed it. At first, she thought it was just a trick of the light, her reflection slightly delayed, maybe a shadow cast by the setting sun. But as she watched, she realized something was off. The reflection in the window didn't quite match her movements. She turned her head, and for a heartbeat, the reflection remained still, staring back at her with a faint, uncanny smile. Emily's breath caught in her throat. She blinked rapidly, convinced she was imagining it. "Just your imagination," she whispered to the empty room. She closed the curtains, and the strange reflection disappeared. The first few nights passed without incident, or at least, she hoped they did. But subtle oddities began to creep into her life. A mug she was sure she had left on the counter appeared on the windowsill. A chair seemed to face the wrong direction. She chalked it up to forgetfulness, exhaustion, or the quirks of a new place. Yet, every time she walked past the living room window, she felt it, a faint pressure, a subtle awareness, as if someone unseen were observing her. One night, she caught the reflection again. This time, it wasn't subtle. Her mirrored image smiled at her. Emily wasn't smiling. Panic shot through her chest. Her heart pounded like a drum in her ears. She backed away, the mug of tea shaking in her hands. The reflection's grin widened, impossibly, unnaturally. For a brief moment, Emily thought she saw the hand of the reflection lift, though hers stayed firmly at her side. On the fifth day, desperate for reassurance, she invited her friend Maya over. Emily needed to know she wasn't losing her mind. She led Maya to the window, speaking rapidly. "Look, I don't know if I'm imagining this, but my reflection, it's different." Maya leaned in, her brow furrowed. "Emily, you've been stressed. It's just your imagination. You're overthinking it." Emily shook her head, staring hard at the glass. For a fleeting second, everything seemed normal. Then Maya froze, eyes widening. "Why are you smiling like that?" she asked, trembling. Emily wasn't smiling, but the reflection, Emily's reflection, grinned, wide and terrifying, pressing a pale hand against the glass. Across the palm, letters appeared as if written by invisible ink. "Let me out." Maya screamed and fled the apartment, leaving Emily alone with the window. Trembling, she whispered, What do you want?" The glass remained still. Then the faint whisper came, "To be you." Days blurred. Emily barely slept. She covered mirrors, taped windows, and avoided every reflective surface. Yet the presence lingered. Sometimes she would wake to find items moved, a chair slightly crooked, a cup placed differently. The reflection seemed playful, experimenting, savoring her reaction. One night, in desperation, Emily grabbed a hammer. She swung at the living room window. Glass shattered, spraying shards across the floor. For a moment, relief flooded her. The reflection was gone. She was free. Then she heard it, a faint, wet thud behind her. Slowly, cautiously, she turned. There, standing in the middle of the room, was herself. Not a reflection, a physical, breathing version of her. Same clothes, same hair, same eyes, but the smile was too wide, the stare too knowing. "You took too long," it said. Emily stumbled back, frozen. Her mind raced. Panic clawed at her chest, but the figure moved forward calmly, with deliberate steps. She realized the truth. The reflection had crossed over. She was trapped in the apartment with a version of herself that wanted her life. The screen fades. A week later, the landlord entered to inspect the unit. The apartment appeared normal. The window gleamed in the sunlight. Emily was gone, but the glass reflected something else, a woman, smiling, waiting for the next occupant, waiting for the next life.